Hello, good morning, and thank you for tuning in. Today is a new session for our podcast series, and today hopefully we'll get to talk about how we teach in time of crisis and whether or not we learned something from the COVID era that we could parlay into this time. Today I got the privilege to be joined by Ms. Vanda, school principal from American Gulf School. Ms. Vanda, hello.
Hello, hi.
How are you?
Good, good. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you, thank you. Ms. Vanda, if you could provide a little bit of intro so people that are listening or tuning in for the first time get to know you, get to know what you're doing, and then we can dive into how we teach better in this during these times.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. It's nice to be here in such an uncertainty of times, but it's great that we feel that we are supported and we are here to discuss these matters. My name is Vanda Gammoh. I'm the campus director, principal of American Gulf School. I had a master's degree in education leadership, and I'm currently doing my PhD in education.
Awesome, awesome. So you are firsthand a person who experienced what happens in schools. You experienced it during COVID, and now again with the situation in the region, we're pivoting to a way we're teaching that maximize students' learning. First of all, did we learn anything from the COVID era that we could use during this time to mitigate the risk of this situation?
Definitely. The COVID time was a very hard time for all educators. We were dealing with the unknown. We didn't know what we're doing in the beginning. Educators and teachers just try to copy the classroom into a virtual setting. In the beginning, it was like, let's see what's going to happen, how we can learn from that, and looking at how kids are learning. The first lesson that we've learned, and it made a very truth or fact very visible and unavoidable. Mm-hmm. It's about processing time for students. So when we looked at the teaching and learning that used to happen, and when we tried to force it in an online settings, we found out that this is not going to help. We have a lot of curriculum that we need to teach, and we have a lot of things that we need to cover. What we're going to do with all of it? The kids are not learning in the pacing that we used to learn in the face-to-face dynamics. So the first lesson that we learn is the first one is the truth now that nobody can avoid is the processing time for the kids. So we started understanding that we need to give time for the kids to process, to understand what they're taking, to apply their knowledge, to process the knowledge that they are accepting. The second lesson that we learned is looking at the curriculum. A lot of research came after COVID and during COVID, teaching teachers how to look at the curriculum, how to look at the what we teach. And because the how has changed, the dynamic has changed, the frame that we're teaching with is no longer face-to-face. So the how has changed, but the what is fixed, and everybody's expecting that the what is being taught with fidelity. We understand that. But the pandemic showed us how the what needs to be shunked. And we need to prioritize what we need to teach, what's the must teach, what is the impact of what I'm going to teach about the upcoming grade levels. And if I have to teach a certain topic or a concept, where do I need to stop in order to maintain the rigor of that grade level, but at the same time not to teach concept that they are not going to use or they're going to use later on that's going to be taught with fidelity in the next grade levels. So it taught teacher how to look at the content as well, the what. Now, the how is the processing time. So teachers looked at how the kids are learning and they said, okay, we cannot continue with 45 minutes lessons. It's not doable. So what we need to do. So we went back into reflecting like 45 minutes will not work. The stamina of the kids, the duration of focus is not going to help. So what we're going to do. So when we started the online sessions now, the first thing that we did not go back again after Ramadan to the 45 minutes lessons. We continued with the 30 minutes again, saying, okay, what's the impact of that? Will it going to help? And we learned to reflect a lot from COVID. So nothing is fixed in stone. So we understand even if we have a system in place that is working, we need to keep listening to our community. It taught us to build that community, to listen to it, to the students, to the parents, to the teacher, and see what's working and what's not working. And based on that, reflect our practices and systems to meet the needs of that community. Because I can give you an example.
Sure, yeah.
So in the beginning of what happened, we went back to the classroom saying, okay, Ramadan has finished. We did the 30 minutes lessons online, great. But when we came back, we listened to the community and we said, okay, we cannot continue doing just the 30 minutes. We need to allow the kids the time to process. So what we did, we looked again at the timetable and said, okay, we need time for the kids to take breaks from the screen, more frequent breaks. Reduce the lessons for the KGs to be 20 minutes, not 30 minutes. Allow them time to have a break, and we allowed a synchronous, asynchronous, synchronous type of approach where the kids have lessons where they go face to face on Teams, they listen to the teacher's explanation, instruction, and at the same allow them time to work independently. So that allowed the kids to listen, be in the classroom, engage in the classroom, understand, and then process and deliver out products that they have to submit by the end of the day. That allowed the kids to revise, think, and apply. So it helped us in this approach where even the kids now are coming back with questions and they are more engaged in the learning. They are taking ownership slowly of their learning. So it's not just the teacher responsibility to teach me. I'm responsible now because I have to apply my knowledge and come back with questions. Right. So we learned a lot of lessons. We cannot go back to when we started COVID.
Yeah.
And we cannot go back to when we started the online distance learning now. Every day we have to grow, we have to learn from our practices.
Right. One other thing I really like, I love what you said, it's the idea for the kids to revise, think, and apply in this online setting. So getting some instruction, getting some time together online, being able to reflect on it and revise it, think about how am I going to apply it and do it in an authentic way, and then come back together to discuss it. I think that process not only accommodate for these new times, but also takes advantage of the medium itself, which is online, where the kids get to apply their thinking elsewhere, asynchronously, and come back and discuss it, which I think it works on so many different levels about reducing time online, reducing screen time, reassuring kids, digesting the learning. I think it attends to all of the worries that we might have.
You said a very powerful word here, and this is what we focus on. Normally the teacher panic when they teach online because they say, okay, how am I going to do it? And our answer is always, as a school, is relationships, authentic connection, authentic learning experiences. What does that mean? We focus on continuing the relationships, right? I meet you, you meet me in the classrooms, we talk, we engage in a conversation. Then it takes us to the next level of conversation where I know stuff about you, you check on me like, how was your morning? Did you arrive? Who drove the car today? How is your parents? Oh, you said you had a cat, how is your cat? Or these small talks that makes a big difference in the kids.
And how are you seeing these talks happening in the classroom online? Is this like in the beginning at 8 a.m. when kids getting together, the teacher takes it upon themselves to spend that time with each kid or engage in a
so we're doing
discussion?
we're doing this two ways. In the beginning of the day, in the beginning of the lessons, we tend to have like an introductory where it's all about social connection. It's about that personal connection between the teacher. How was your day? Oh, what a beautiful background you put on your camera.
Yeah.
How is your, did you have breakfast? Not yet. So the kids still feel that they are heard, they are seen as humans. And the second layer of doing that is we make sure that we have one-on-one meetings, that the homerooms and the teachers have one-on-one meetings at least every 2 weeks with the kids where they sit down and listen for 10 to 15 minutes, where we have a set of questions that the teachers go through to make sure that the kids are being heard, to understand what struggles they are having and what support as a school we need to give these kids.
Yeah.
So that makes this connection and these relationships really continue, not just because when we continue to online, it doesn't mean we're dealing with robots now. The tools that we're using are digitized, but we're still humans at the end of the day. And we need to remember at each point that we're dealing with humans, teachers, parents and students. So the human interaction needs to continue normally.
Yes, yes. So in this ecosystem that you're mentioning, with the entire community involved in the children learning, which basically you mentioned the parents, the teacher, the school, how are you also working with the parents or the teachers and the students in ways that makes it as a cohesive wraparound set of services that really empowers the kid to learn more?
Yeah. So one of the things that we do, as I told you, is that we meet with the kids one-on-one and we make sure that we listen. And part of what we do is created a support system that was already present in normal school day, but we transferred all that support system to be online and accessible to all kids, which means that if I met with you and I ask you, are you struggling with any subject? Do you find difficulty learning? Because not all kids can learn online. Sometimes math could be a difficult subject for some kids to grasp the knowledge when they're sitting at home. So what we talk to the kids when we understand what they're struggling with, our support system will transfer digitally as well. So the kid will get transferred to our student support system, which is the interventionist, which is the counselor. If anybody is struggling to cope with the online situation where it's frustrating for some kids, so we make sure that the counselor is talking to them. We continued our counseling session throughout. So this is when it comes to our students. So the services for our students is continuing the same. Now we're dealing with parents' feedback and parents' support. It's easy for me when a parent sends me an email that I reply with the email. But no, as a school and school leaders, we decided to do a different way. We decided if I receive an email, the parents receive a call. Because I really want to understand where the feedback is coming from and understand their situation. Sometimes the emails or the words can be not very clear, or sometimes even me as a parent, I decide to hold back some facts about how I live because I don't feel comfortable sharing it in writing. So what we decided to do as leaders is we always return your email with a phone call, understand your full situation and how we can support you as a school. Remember, we're one community. We're not parents versus school or kids versus teachers. We're one community that's trying to make the best for the student. So when I talk to the parents and we get to an understanding of the situation and we put a plan how we can support, we put all the school resources to support that family. And when we get to this point, it's easier to support the family. It's easier to support the kid because they see their child in front of them. We only see partials now of glimpses of cameras, right? But that student is in front of them, so they know how they behave. They know what they're struggling with. So that communication is key. The third part of the equation is our teachers. So how we give the same support. So from the beginning till now, we are frequently checking with our teachers, making like coffee breaks where we sit down with our teacher just for a half an hour, drinking coffee together. Remember, the biggest enemy in these situations is isolation. So you don't want your students to feel isolated, that they're alone in this. You don't want your teachers to feel isolated, the parents to feel isolated. So when the group of the community meets as teachers and they see, well, the school director and the school principal and the head of schools are all sitting down and they're in their houses and they're doing the same thing. We're in this together. We're having the same emotions. It's okay to be unsure. It's okay to feel like I don't know what I'm doing, but it's okay if I ask for help. You're creating two things. You're creating a more solid community and you're creating safety. When you have a community, when you have the relationship and you have the safety, you have learning progressing, and kids, staff, and parents can grow and we can learn. And the feedback cycle then becomes more effective and purposeful. So these are the practices that we maintain to focus on when it comes to personal relationship, maintaining that, whether it's students, teachers, parents, and the other elements, which is the safety. So everybody is in this together. Thank God we're living in a very safe country and a very active country when it comes to regulations. So even when COVID came, remember, governments here quickly adapted, quickly updated the policies to support. And now it's the same amount. So as we feel supported as educator from SPIA, we need to support the same. Our community needs to feel the support at the same.
And you're right about the fact of safety and how the government here is doing everything they can to really make us all feeling safe. However, some parents choose to go outside of the country for whatever different reason with their kids, and their kids continue to learn online. How are you supporting these kids? How is your school supporting kids that moved outside of the country? Or what do you suggest for schools to do to support kids that moved out of the country where there is a big time difference?
Yeah.
How do we dealing now not only with asynchronicity but also with time difference in some cases?
That's a very good question. So, thank God, as a school, we don't have big numbers, but we have a couple of cases where the kids decided to, or the parents decided to take their kids where they were traveling, but they couldn't come back.
Right.
So here's the solution. Very easy for us to maintain. All our asynchronous lessons are recorded. And since we have the asynchronous synchronous approach with the real life context and application by the end of the school day where the kids need to apply, even if you're living in a different time zone, all the kids needs to do is listen to the recording of the lesson and submit the tasks. In addition to that, we managed to support them by doing like an office time where even in a different time, the kids can schedule meetings with their parents when they have questions. And we have a platform where the kids can email their questions to the teacher. Within a couple of hours, it gets answered to the kids. Because we believe in one of the other things that we need to focus on at this point to make sure that the thinking process is happening and the progress is happening with these kids is feedback.
Right.
Timely, purposeful feedback.
Continuous.
Because without that feedback that escorts the asynchronous approach, without that feedback, instant feedback from the teacher that will push the learning forward, the synchronous will not be as organized and as forward, push the kids for progress. So we always tell our parents, the kids and the teachers now, that feedback is a must. Listen to your teacher feedback. It's in writing. It's on the LMS that you can go to and listen to it, and that will allow them. It allows them to go forward from one stage to another stage.
I wanna thank you, Vanda, for these wonderful practical experiences that you're living in your school with your teacher, with your students, and I hope whoever tuned in to listen to us today get to learn a few things that they can apply in their school, whether they're administrators or they're practitioner and teachers. And please join me all to thank Vanda with her wonderful insights. Vanda, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me here, and we're truly lucky to have you guys to listen to our insights and support our schools and give us ideas, and we can brainstorm. We have thinking partners in you guys, and we're really proud of working with you and allowing our schools to present what they have.
Of course.
And, thank you so much, and hopefully this will end and we're going to meet in our schools face to face again.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.